Ding, ding, ding. You've logged onto James down at Paddlefish Sail.
Look at that, gold.
Today we're going to be going through basic setup of the 16 for racing. Going to help you go a little bit quicker and race a little bit easier. To begin with, we're going to start off with the forestay plate here. That's going to the tack of your jib is going to attach to. When they come out of the factory, this plate will be the other way around. So this end down here. What we do is we just flip it upside down, reattach it, and it's going to allow you to get your jib down lower. So when it's windy conditions, that can be advantageous to you. We also attach a little bit of elastic to your forestay. If it does get really, really windy and you're going downwind, this can get caught on the top batten of your jib. So it's good to just keep that propped up and out of the way. Dolphin striker, important to have it really firm. Nice tension on that. It's going to hold your boat together a lot more and stop the flex and support your front beam a lot more as well. If we move down to the back of the boat, laid out here we've got the main. I've pre-done all the battens, but I'll just show you this one, this bottom batten, to show you the tension that we want. Generally, you always want the same amount of tension on your battens. So what we're going to do is we're going to pull it on nice and tight and cleat, and you can see that there's now a bulge in the batten pocket. So if we push down, there's a gap between the batten and the material. That shows we've got nice even tension, and you can do that throughout your whole main. Coming onto the jib, I'm sure most of you have found that the jib can get caught on the jib halyard through tacks and jibes. What we've got here is a sailmaker's just stitched on some plastic rubber stuff, and that's just going to come over your jib batten, stop it from getting caught. Again, same thing with the jib battens, nice little bulge in the pocket there, nice even tension. Now if you've got a slightly older sail, what we've got here is a bit of luff tension. If you fully rig your boat on the beach and tip it over, it can pay to just undo this and prop it up nice and firm. And that's going to bring the draft a little further forward in your jib and keep it nice and firm. Out of the factory, these are all set fairly standard, so you won't need to worry about it too much if you've got a brand new boat. Last thing we've got here is a little bit of elastic on the main block. Through tacks and jibes, your main block can swivel under and get caught on the track, and this little bit of elastic is just going to hold it propped up all the time, and that'll keep you out of trouble. Well done.
Alright, so now our sails are up. Alright James, take us through the rest of the setup.
Alright, so back here at the front of the boat, got a jib attached down here. Usually we'd have a shackle from this part of the sail, this eyelet in the sail, down to the swage. This boat doesn't have that. We run a little thin bit of spectra. It gives us a little more adjustment between races and that sort of thing if you're really keen. It makes it a little easier than adjusting that little bit of rope at the top of the sail I showed you just before. Not necessary, it's really just a personal preference kind of thing.
Yeah, and note, because that chain plate, that selector's been turned around upside down, that jib's nice and low, isn't it?
Yep. So in heavy wind we want it down low, and the main thing in heavy wind is our sheeting angle of the jib. With this sheeting angle, we want it, this angle here, coming straight through the middle of the sail or the lower part of the sail. And that's going to release power out of the top and allow you to carry more power and drive harder.
And you've been able to get that because you've got the jib down low?
Yep, because the jib is down low. Also with this shackle down here, we need the pin end of the shackle to be up higher. If this was down the other way with a pin on the lower hole, then your pulleys are going to get all caught up and they're going to get caught and you're going to have to fix it. So we always run the pin up higher.
That shackle's been put through both eyelets of the jib with the blocks hanging out of each side.
Yep. So as you can see here, through both holes.
Yep.
Moving on to the main halyard. Once you've got the main up, take the rope off, shove it in the pocket. We like to take this around the outside of everything and hook it back onto the horn cleat here. By doing that, it's just going to keep it tucked in a little neater up the top. Next thing is the cunningham. Once you've got it in and pulled it down the track, we need to tie a knot in the rope so it won't pop out. So now when we release it, it will only go so high and not pop out of the truck. Especially when it's windy, it's super crucial that this doesn't lay on the tramp. If that's on the tramp, you won't be able to release the jib. So what we need to do is a couple of these knots just to take up the slack in the rope, like that, all the way back. And either tuck it down through the tramp, just let it go, or you can also take it around the tramp and back into the pocket, whatever's going to keep it out of the way. Now I might also mention that on this boat we've got all Spectra ropes. Spectra ropes are going to have the least amount of stretch. Double braid rope is alright as well, but you definitely want a Spectra jib halyard. And double braid can be alright for the jib and main, but we prefer Spectra, but again, personal preference. Moving back with the trap wires, we basically, if you're a beginner, you want to be trapping a little higher than the beam, or if it's big waves, but once you get a little more advanced, we like to be flat with the beam. Moving further back, outhaul's propped up nice and tight. We've got our elastic here to keep that block out of the way. And the most crucial part of the boat is your rudders. It's really important to have your rudders nice and smooth, and the least amount of wobble, the better. One other thing is your towing. So we want our rudders to be angled like this. The way we measure it is we drop both rudders down. And we're going to run a tape from each inside edge, the leading edge. And you're going to take a measurement. And then you're going to measure from the trailing edge on each rudder. And you want it to be about 4 to 6 mil shorter on the leading edge, so they're towed in. So it's 4 to 6 mil shorter on the leading edge side. You got to make sure that you go the same distance down each rudder, and that your tape measure is really straight. So there's nothing worse than having your rudders towed out and ploughing along like that. Now with the rig tension on the 16, it's going to vary from boat to boat. Some have longer side stays, some are shorter, some are stretched. So it's a bit of a ballpark thing. Generally we pull it on nice and firm, but the more you have on, the more tension, the more power. The less you have, the least power, but a little more height.
Righto, James. Tell us about the mast rake setting and the main sheet and how it works together.
Alright, mast rake is all controlled by a jib halyard. Okay, more you have on, further up the rig's going to stand. General rule, when both on trapeze or one on trapeze and almost two on trapeze, we need to have our main blocks blocked out as they are there. When only one on trapeze or you're both sitting up the front of the boat going upwind, we want to have our main blocks about there. Just close enough together so that if you get a little more wind and you are to block it out, you're not going to be hooking the leech. But the main thing is that we're not closing out the leech of the main.
So you've got just enough mast rake to get some really good tension on the sail, but still use as much up of it as possible without the sail being too loose, because the blocks would clash.
So a nice firm tension on the main.
Yeah.
Now when it gets windy, we tend not to worry so much about the main. You're going to ease the traveller and reduce that sheeting angle, and what we focus on when it's windy is the jib. So as long as we've got this sheeting angle nice and low and the jib low down, we're going to be powering off the jib, not so much the main. We're going to be letting power go from the main. Also, as we take our main traveller out, we're also going to start to bring out our jib travellers. That's going to help keep the slot nice and open and not choke the boat up.
So instead of loosening the sails too much, we let the travellers out on both sails to ease off, so that the sails stay sheeted on and nice and flat, but let some of the air go at the same time.
Exactly right. Now, one last thing is the Cunningham. The windier it gets, the more you pull on. If you've got weather helm, so the tiller's being pulled away from you, pull some more Cunningham on, and that should help ease that. But yeah, a nice flat sail is what we want when it's really windy. And feel free to pull the sail right down almost to the black band, or to the black band.
Or past.
Nice and quick. And the best thing to do is go sailing with your local Hobie 16 fleet. Ask the gurus, they're the ones that know, and just train with those guys, and they're going to be able to give you the best advice for your boat and your conditions. That's about it. James from Paddlefish Sail signing out. Well done.